Hello, folks. Joe White here. Welcome to another episode of From Pillar to Post. I will have my Heels review. The TV series Heels dropped yesterday. I will have my episode 1 review up sometime this evening. I'm trying to record right now in a house that is full of a kid, that's got the missus working from home, got the wife trying to do school from home, and it's messy and loud and all that good stuff. But we are going to talk about wrestling today, and we're going to talk about Jim Cornette and how Jim Cornette. Let's instead of Jim Cornette, let's say NXT. We'll talk about the NXT. And about a week and a half ago, NXT released a bunch of talent. There's multiple videos here on the channel and elsewhere on the internet that talk about it, and they multiple comparisons have been made with OVW, and everybody goes, "Oh, how is this OVW when OVW is within WWE?" Yes, or NXT is within WWE, and you're right. NXT is within WWE, but this kind of goes back into the mentality it goes into the mentality of Vince McMahon and the way Vince McMahon and the way a lot of the yes men that Vince McMahon surrounds himself with. Well, I shouldn't say that they're yes men. Maybe Bruce Pritchard, but the other people are there because they need a job. The job probably pays well, and they don't want to lose that job because they know that if they defy Vince, or if Vince happens to if they don't walk around on eggshells, if they defy Vince and piss him off, or piss one of the other cronies off, and they go run and tell him, or even if Vince decided to wake up on the wrong side of the bed after his 2 hours of sleep every night in his coffin, that they could get fired. Somebody runs around all scared. Yes, Vince, you're right, Vince. Even if he's just changed his mind, if he goes, "Goddamn, pal, today I want the coffee pour the coffee first in the cup, then the sugar, then the creamer." Yes, sir. The next day, they do it just like that. Goddamn, pal, what is this crap? I said put the cream and the sugar first in, then the coffee. Oh, we're sorry, sir. No, wait a minute. Yesterday you said to do it this way. Well, goddamn it, now I'm telling you to do it this way. Oh, yes, sir. Third day he comes in. God damn it. Put the sugar in first, then the coffee, then the creamer. But you said to do it. God damn it, pal. That's the way it is, folks. And they can't really buck the system but so much because they need jobs. The same way you can't go to your manager at work and go, wherever you work at. Let's say you work at McDonald's. And McDonald's and I've had this happen to me at Kroger. But I'll use this as an example. McDonald's says, okay, today we're going to start by putting the hamburger patties on the grill. And then you're going to cook them for 5 minutes on side A, 2 minutes on side B, and then put them in the warming tray ready to sell. So that's the way you do it. That's the way the managers tell you to do it. Because that's the way managers are being told from corporate how to do it. The next day they come in and they go, "No, wait a minute. We're changing it again. This time we're going to cook it 2 minutes on side A, 5 minutes on side B. Then you're going to dip them in a deep fryer for 2 minutes and then put them in the warming thing." Then the third day, okay, fine, that's how. Third day comes in. And the old corporation has changed their minds again. This time the hamburgers are going to go in the deep fryer for 2 minutes, then on side A for 1 minute, side B for 6 minutes, and then in the warmer. You see what I'm getting at, folks? Shit keeps changing because you got a bunch of people in charge who have either dropped the ball, have lost their shit a long time ago, or they don't know what the fuck they're talking about in the first place. It's the same way with Vince. He's lost it. He's just lost it. And now his own son-in-law His own son-in-law is bearing the brunt. And it's not AEW's fault. They did not have to go up against AEW. I'm sure it was not Triple H's first idea to go up against AEW, because Triple H, for all the shit we've given him over the years, he does have a good mind for the business. But now his own son-in-law is bearing the brunt of it, and the cross is now his to bear. But this goes back far back than NXT. It goes way far back than 2 years ago. It goes way further back than 10 years ago. The way WWE treats these talents, and the way they want their quote-unquote developmental system to work, has been this way since OVW. Think about that. Since 1999. 22 years. This shit has been going on. So you can't say Vince has lost the plot. You can't say, I mean, that is an excuse that I guess that we could use. Oh, he's an old man, he's out of touch. But And it did not happen as often as we'll hear in this. When did the Spirit Squad come around? Because let's say when did they put Batista out there as Deacon Batista? It had to have been 2002 when the draft split started, when the Raw and SmackDown, when the brands got broken up, so right around the time of WCW's death. And there were a few people that they got right. Brock, Cena kind of developed into his own deal. Cena was failing until Stephanie found out that he could rap on the airplane one time, or on the back of the bus one time. According to Cornette, Batista was failing fast too until he started working out with the son-in-law, with Triple H. Randy Orton's the same way. He was floundering fast until he became a part of Evolution. Alexis Lurie, a.k.a. Mickie James, did it work out for her? I think it did, until the Piggy James shit started. But that was about 10 years afterwards, if not more. But there's going to be some, as we'll hear in this clip, from Jim Cornette. This is a Jim Cornette's Deep Dive, OVW Deep Dive Omnibus, which is basically a collection of podcasts that he did from over the years. They put this up on May 20th of 2019 on the official Jim Cornette YouTube page. So 2 years ago, well over 2 years ago. But these have, gone back years, 3-4 years ago, these things. It's a collection of when he would do the OVW deep dives. And I get about an hour and 10 minutes into this deep dive, and I hear shit like this. And my jaw, even though I knew it happened, it's like the light bulb went off for this video. The idea. So let's dissect this. I'm having a good time lately dissecting other people's shit for some reason. I don't know why. But Jim, please don't sue me for playing this. I love you to death. Everybody go, oh God, here we go, the toxic. You love the racist, homophobic, blah, 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 blah. Guys, he's got a mind for the fucking business. Okay? Even in 2021, Jim Cornette still has a mind for the business. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's true. Tony Khan would not have wanted a meeting with him and made him sign an NDA if Tony Khan did not think that Jim Cornette had something to offer. Jim Cornette just doesn't want to be associated with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. He doesn't want to accept it. He doesn't like them, so he doesn't want anything to do with them. And he's sticking to his laurels on it. People say, oh, it's a gimmick by now. No, it's not. I think that's how the man really fucking feels. Even with the Kenny Omega versus Christian match that took place on Rampage last Friday, Cornette flat out said, hey, the match was decent. I just don't like Olivier's part of it. And the only reason why Kenny Olivier had anything, halfway decent in the match is because he was working with Christian. Now, do I personally agree with that wholeheartedly? No. But do I agree with him when I say that when he says that everything Kenny does just about is all prony prancing around and useless motion and useless rope shaking and head movements and everything? Yes. There's a lot of wasted motion in a Kenny Omega match. But let's take this dive, if you will. He's talking about certain talents that would get called up. I believe he's either going to talk about or not talk about, or he has just talked about Johnny Jeter. Johnny, hell of a talent, moved from San Jose, California, all the way to Louisville, Kentucky, just to train at OVW, waited tables at Chili's, just so he could afford to pay for the wrestling school and everything. Was a hell of a talent. They give him the Spirit Squad gimmick, and after they release him, he's so fucking scarred and disgusted by it that he leaves the wrestling business and goes and becomes a chiropractor. Let's take a listen here. We'll stop along the way to dissect it.
I would say that due to Johnny Jeter's tremendous performance against Chris Jericho this past week at Six Flags Super Summer Sizzler Series, the WWE has extended him an offer for a contract or whatever, and it'd be a big deal. And then it worked great for several years, but then, unfortunately, especially when JR left Talent Relations, and because he would try to get to Oklahoma more, I don't blame him. But then when they started doing just really stupid shit, and they started the writers really infested the whole thing. I've told a story of how Dinsmore was so over here, and he we talked about the college he graduated here. And
let me pause right there. It's not the writers, Corny, okay? You can blame it on the writers all you want to. This is where I disagree with them. It's Vince. It's always been Vince. Even when Vince Russo was there, it's always been Vince McMahon. The filter is broken. His mindset when it comes to developmental territories has always been the same, as we'll soon find out here. But Nick Dinsmore, to Cornette's credit here, Dinsmore was freaking amazing in OVW. Could work freaking circles around anybody. I would sit there and go, you could put 1999/2000, hell, even 2001, Nick Dinsmore up against fucking Kenny Omega right now, and he could work circles around Omega's ass. He would make Kenny Omega look like a fucking amateur.
He was a teacher at the high school that he graduated, and we'd always run a show there every year. Then he became a Eugene, and he couldn't sell a fucking ticket because people are, what the fuck? And they ruined Matt Morgan when Morgan was so over here. I had a poll. I did a shoot poll of all of our fans, and Morgan was the most popular guy at that period of time by 2-1. So they made me switch him heel, and then they made me put a mask on him and killed him deader than 4 o'clock, and then they put him on TV. So the people were actually leaving the comment cards at TV. Why does the WWF make all of our favorite wrestlers look like idiots?
There you go. And I believe that 100%. Why does the WWE make all our favorite wrestlers look like idiots? What does that remind you of? Do you see the logo at the top right-hand corner of your screen, folks? Nothing's changed. Nothing has fucking changed. This is why Jeff Edwards and everybody else, have said, yeah, we'll watch NXT, but we can't really get attached to anybody there. And it got, well, let's listen.
So I was I was producing people that their talent, that the fans were interested in their real life gimmick that they had that was really them, or their real story that we were telling, and they were over in the role that they were given. And then they would take them up there and they'd put them on TV and they'd make them look stupid, or they'd change their shit, or they'd give them some goofy name or whatever, and the people would rebel against it. And it became the carrot that I was dangling to the wrestlers became the anchor that was around my neck as far as getting the fans to because they were like, no, we don't want them to go to the WWF. We want them to stay here.
What's that sound like to you guys? How many times have I said, if I'm Adam Cole, I don't want to go to NXT or don't want to go to the main roster? If I'm Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, anybody in the Undisputed Era, I don't want to go to the main roster. Why? Because we know what's going to happen. Vince is going to get their hands on them. It's been said many times, you're no longer one of Hunter's kids once you leave NXT. You go back to the NXT documentary, though. I think, what was it called? Breaking Ground? Proving Ground? I don't know. The one that William Shatner hosted. Enzo and Cass get called up. And they're so quick to thank Hunter. And Hunter looks at Enzo and goes, your work is just beginning. It's a totally different animal up there. Now, I'll say for Enzo and Cass, it kind of worked out for them. They're one of the few. And then what happens? Well, 205 Live comes around, and Cass is 7 foot tall and muscular, which Vince loved. The only problem is, Cass had his issues at the time, so they released him. Enzo could cut a damn good promo and could flip-flop and fly around the ring a little bit. So they give him the damn cruiserweight title. He was the best thing to ever happen to that damn division. And then, he's not real popular in the locker room. Nobody liked him in the locker room. But you know what? You don't have to like the people you work with. You just have to work with them, right? I never understood that, So what if they don't like you? You don't like your manager at work almost every other day, but you still show up and do your job professionally. You may not like Sally that sits in the cube next to you. Maybe she annoys you with her laugh, and you're sick and tired of hearing her talk about her kids. And yeah, maybe she really doesn't know what the fuck she's doing about her job, but you still show up. You still sit next to her. You still help her if she needs help. She helps you if you need help. You get along. And Enzo was drawing ratings. But then something happens with him of, the whole sexual harassment thing, which ended up getting thrown away. And that was all the ammunition WWE needed to go, okay, you're gone too. So again, people don't want to see them leave. If I'm a WWE fan right now and I say, okay, Adam Cole, if you're going to stay with WWE, please stay in NXT forever. Well, now I'm not so sure because of Vince pretty much taking over. Let's continue here with Cornette.
Because they'll just ruin them.
When did that start? When did they realize that they would ruin them?
There you go. Here's where it gets good, folks.
About 2004-ish, I think. Maybe Eugene was a little bit before that.
Eugene was about late 2002.
But
like the fans in OVW were happy with Lesnar going up and Orton going up, just how they were used. But like Batista, when all of a sudden he became Batista, did you hear that from the fans?
Yeah, because Leviathan was the single most over babyface or heel in terms of just monster pop and invincible aura that I had done.
Now, I will give Vince or Jim credit here. He has had his rants on Batista in the past. Because Batista said he didn't learn anything in OVW, which I find that really hard to believe. But Cornette did turn him into something. Cornette did his job. He developed talent for WWE. Just like Hunter has developed talent in NXT.
And it was insane. The reaction. That's why we switched him babyface, because he was the unstoppable heel that turned babyface on his own, because it was so cool. The gimmick was great. He was unbeatable, etc., etc. And then they hang a box around his neck and put him in the outfit because they didn't fucking get it. And
there you go. What does that remind you of? The fuck does that remind you of? Take your pick. Take your fucking pick.
I don't know why they didn't just use the Leviathan gimmick and work with Taker, but nevertheless.
Take your fucking pick of NXT talent that this sort of thing has happened to.
And if people are like, what the fuck? But then we brought him back for one of the primetime specials. We brought him back. I think it was when we moved into the new building in 2002. We did a 2-hour primetime special, and that's when we filled the place up because it held 500, and then the bus pulled up, and then all the other shit. We turned about 1,200 away. The fire department jurisdiction battle was a nightmare. We had to do rezoning work and everything because it attracted too much attention. But he came back that night, and that's the single loudest pop I ever heard in the building, when he had been Deacon Batista or whatever the fuck he'd been on their TV, and he came back out of our curtain as Leviathan. The fucking people pissed themselves because they got attached to these guys, and they wanted to see them do well, but they wanted to see them do well seriously instead of being made fun of, or like the Spirit Squad being made a joke of. Or
do I need to say anything else about this? Do I need to see anything here? There's a few guys, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. But then they get sick and tired of it and they start changing shit. And then Finn Balor comes back and he's over like Rover, but now they jerked him back up there again. Keith Lee. Matt Riddle. Ember Moon just come back down there and they popped her again. You know, she's popping huge again. Look at the Ascension. The Ascension is a perfect example. Heavy Machinery is another perfect example. I mean, come on, guys. This is nothing new.
Whatever. And it got to the point where I would, dread the poor guys leaving, because okay, they're going to make some more money now, but for how long? Because they're going to bury him with these stupid gimmicks, because they had 25 writers that didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Again, you don't want him to leave, and I'm sure Hunter probably feels like that. You're going to be making more money, but I would not be surprised if Hunter, behind closed doors, has a sit down with these guys and goes, look, man, you're going to go up there and you're going to make a little bit more money, but don't be surprised if the old man buries you, Don't be surprised if he slaps a fucking horrible gimmick on you. Money is not everything, folks.
And they had just started to be convinced, I guess, at that point, that they weren't the wrestling business. Because Vince had always said that, but the creative team was always consisted of people in the wrestling business. Well, then by that point, and after Russo and Dickhead Ferrara had burned him and everything, he put Stephanie in charge, and they start finding real writers that had never been involved in wrestling. And that's when all this stuff went south.
Again, I don't think it's the writers. as much as it is Vince. I mean, the writers may have something to do with it. Stephanie getting put in charge of creative, may probably had a lot to do with it. But at the end of the day, it's all Vince. It's Vince McMahon. He's the owner. He's got final say on everything. You know, it's not like he's sitting there and not being in gorilla for the entire fucking show, like a fucking Tony Khan is not there for Dark, which is supposed to be important. If it's important and it matters, Vince McMahon is there. Or Bruce Pritchard is sitting there, who kind of at this point knows what Vince McMahon wants and likes and everything like that. Nothing goes on that television show, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, without Vince McMahon's approval. He is Lorne Michaels of WWE. Like, Lorne Michaels. Nothing goes on Saturday Night Live without Lorne Michaels approving it, as Howard Stern once said. And I believe that to be true.
And they thought they had to just redo guys for the sake of redoing it. I don't know why. Because I would have signed the gimmicks over to them. I did that with D'Lo Brown. I did that with the Headbangers. Did that with several people that they picked up.
In this case, there's nothing to sign over. You've already created it. It's homegrown. Look what they did with Bray Wyatt at first. I mean, in most of these cases, they are keeping them the same gimmick, but the way they're booking them is trash. Look at Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross is a prime example. The whole Insanity faction, they're silver platter. Look at what they did with Eric Young. Look at what they did with EC3. Look at what they did. EC3 is the prime example. Again, it's nothing new.
So was this your gimmick? Yes. Here, sign this paper. Boom. Now they can have a job. There you go.
Who was the first person in OVW they had you change the gimmick of?
Oh, God. I can't remember the first one, to be honest. But once again, the thing with Morgan was I had him over as a huge baby face. I said, we want to see him as a heel. All right. He's my most popular guy, but I'll figure out a way. So I think that's when I brought Chris Benoit down to Six Flags and had Matt fuck him up maybe or something. But anyway, he killed Bambi's mother and became a heel, and he got over as a heel because he could cut such a great promo. And he was so obnoxious. And then just put a mask on him. Like, what? Then I had to come up with a storyline reason to put him, because some idiot said, well, it'll help him learn body language when he can't rely on his facial expressions. They were just, somebody didn't like Morgan, and they were fucking with him, trying to sabotage him, because nobody could be that stupid, right?
He's going to go into more here, but they don't do that to that much extent in NXT as they did in OVW, thank God. But again, it's nothing new.
And so finally, when I switched him heel and then put the mask on him and came up with a reason to explain that, then people started not caring. Then they took him up and they gave him a stuttering gimmick, which is
that was the most incredible part.
Yeah, and that was the end of that. But it had to be on purpose. But I never had anybody explain to me why. But it was obviously on purpose.
Do you have suspects as
no
who would have disliked him so much?
No, I have no idea. But I mean, and I gave them a lot of credit for being really stupid, because one time JR said, for the creative team, you've got 21 guys down there. I want to rank them from 1 to 21 and their strong points and their weak points, do a little report. So I did. And they immediately brought up 19 and 20, which was Sean O'Hare and Mark Jindrak. 21 was injured. 21 couldn't even walk at that point, I remember. And they passed over all the guys. I said, these guys are ready to go. They're faking perform right now. And some of them they never did bring up. But they Jindrak and O'Hare, because Johnny Ace, he saw himself in them.
There you go. He just hit the nail on the head. JR leaves. Laurinaitis steps in. Shit goes to hell. Mark Carrano and all them leave. Johnny Ace steps in. It all goes to hell. You see where we're at here, folks? You see the repeat? You know, Pete and repeat. We're in a boat. Pete bail out. Who's next? Repeat. Well, Pete and repeat. We're in a, come on. Does it make sense now? It's not the writers. It's Vince and Johnny Ace and all these yes men. We're back to 2004, all 05, 6, all over again. Somebody said, on one of Meltzer's shows, are we going to get the Diva search again? Probably so. Like I said, are we going to go back to drafting? Is our talent pool going to be coming from whatever Hooters that Johnny Ace happens to be eating at that day? The Bella Twins, Layla, anybody in that fucking Diva search. Are we going to go back to having the Butterfly Belt, the Divas title again? Because that's who they're going to hire as far as women go. That's who the 4 horsewomen are going to be putting over next. Watch out, Bailey. You're going to be using your, let's see. Let's do this. This is stupid, but I mean, hold on. Let's see. I'm trying to look it up here. I'm sorry, guys. Well, the last time they did one, well, here you go. Are we going to go back to hiring people like Maurice? You know where Maurice came from, folks? Miss Hawaiian Tropic 2003 in Canada. Ashley Mazzaro, may she rest in peace. Miss Hawaiian Tropic 2004. So they took the 2003 and the 2004 Miss Hawaiian Tropic Canada winners and made them into wrestlers. That's who they hired. They filled their heads with hopes and dreams of them actually being able to do this shit. Rebecca DiPietro, remember her? Miss Hawaiian Tropic USA 2005. She was a backstage interviewer on ECW. Brooke Adams, remember her? Former ECW performer. Miss Hawaiian Tropic. Barbara Blank, remember her as Kelly Kelly? Miss Hawaiian Tropic. Do we see a pattern here? Do we see Bailey, you better watch out. Miss Hawaiian Tropic is coming for your spot, and she'll probably get it. Let's continue on here.
Because they were both big, tall guys that had no idea what fucking business they were in, couldn't work, had 2 left feet, and couldn't cut a fucking promo. And Jindrak was, at least O'Hare had a great look. Jindrak was boring as fuck just all the way around. But it was the old WCW thing. But there was guys I couldn't wait to get rid of. They wouldn't take. And other times, guys that I cried when they left because I'm like, how am I going to replace these matches? But fucking 7. They wouldn't take him. Goddamn, I made him a heel, a babyface, a member of a tag team, back as a babyface again, whatever the fuck. They wouldn't never take him. But I couldn't. I tried to give him Rico Constantino because he was so. Me and Danny Davis both went to Freedom Hall one night. They were going to cut Rico, and we said he is by far the outstanding student, the outstanding worker of the group that we've been.
Yeah, there's another guy that they fucking ruined, and they ended up becoming a police officer in Nevada.
Given the outstanding human being, and he deserves a chance. And he has done tremendous for us, and we can count on him for anything, whether it be driving the ring truck or having the main event match or whatever. So they bring him up and they make him the fucking hairdresser for, the fucking Billy and Chuck. And he did the best he could with that, but they never gave him a chance. And she was just stunned that we would go to bat for some guy because he was 40.
Is that what it was? Was that the reason they wanted to cut him, was his age?
Well, who knows? Because everybody could give their
Look at that company now. Everybody almost is over the age of 40 that's worth a damn.
opinion, right? And I would see some opinion. Bruce was in the office and he didn't have much to do, so they'd make him watch the show. Well, he didn't want to watch the fucking show, so he would write some goddamn short one-line wrap-up of like something I just read you. That whole big long thing, he'd write a line about it and turn it in as a report. And Bruce is. And once again, I've loved him to death for many years, but he sees shit in some fucking talent that I've never figured out. He was the one that wanted to sign Mark Marrow and Sable, so he was picking all the wrong. I think he was picking the guys that he would get points for picking, but I was picking the guys that were good over the guys that were the shits. And I would tell him, it's not my fault you're signing guys that are shits and sending them to me when I've already got guys that are better than this here that didn't cost you anything. What the fuck? JR understood that, but Laurinaitis didn't. None of the other ones didn't, or didn't want to just come out and be honest.
Well, with Jindrak and O'Hare, they may have been at the bottom of your list of who was talented in OVW. Where were they on the list in terms of physiques in OVW?
Jindrak didn't have a physique either. O'Hare looked great. Jindrak looked just like Johnny Ace. He didn't have a muscle defined on his body. But
there you go. I ended there. So the muscular thing and the age thing and all this mess. Tale as old as time, folks. Tale as old as time. Vinny and the Beast. It's not new. It's not going to change until they either fire Johnny Ace again or restructure the whole thing again and get people in there who know about the business, which ain't going to happen. Or until finally we can look at the damn internet one day. Hell, did it happen yet? Let me check. Has it happened yet? I don't think it has. But that day that we can look at the internet and see the line, Vince McMahon passes away. Vincent Kennedy McMahon has passed away. And again, I don't wish death on nobody. I don't like saying these things, but it's the truth. Until we can look at there and finally exclaim, "Ding dong, the witch is dead," nothing will change. Again, I'll have my Heels Episode 1 review up. It will be a spoiler review, because I'm assuming anybody who wants to watch it has watched it. It's going to be up 24 hours afterwards. I'm Joe White. You've just been taken from pillar to post, and we'll see you down the road.